Hey, hi, it's Skycat Live. What's up, guys? It's 1:30 in the afternoon. It's 2:28. This is the third time I've tried to start this video. It's Friday. It's a beautiful Friday afternoon. I'm on my second beer, and it's 1:30 in the afternoon. 77 degrees out. 2:28 in the afternoon. Or sorry, in February. And so I'm loading up all the games. I'm gonna drop it off the big face because I'm just trying to get this video started for the third time today. I've lost 6 hours. 6 hours of recording I've lost today because of piece of shit YouTube and terrible ass Microsoft completely destroying everything that I do. I really don't know why some days are like this. They just totally choke, their code fucking breaks, and things that they normally do totally fine completely break down, and you have to start over and over again. I've noticed that modern software development is about trying 6 or 7 times, and usually the 6th or 7th time you'll finally get it. And when you understand how, hey, do you see how bad this is? There you go. I don't know. There we go. Sorry, bad software developer. So bad software developer won't even get my camera on the screen. I'm terribly sorry, but I mean, like, I clicked the button. I don't know why it didn't go. I don't know why. So second try, third try, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh try. Eventually, the software will finally give you what you want. Now, if you've ever designed a piece of software, you understand how insanely stupid both the software developers and that statement is, because software works the first time every time that you do it. Just like math. 2 plus 2 is 4. The same as 2 is to 2 might be 4 or whatever. It's just sort of insane. It's like, software is no different than 2 plus 2 equals 4. So when you understand that software makes you do things 6 or 7 times, you begin to understand that that software developer is a full-blown criminal thief and deserves to be in jail and has stolen and taken your money. And this is true of Microsoft. It's true of a lot of programs. A lot of programs, they have to be free, like OBS, or they would end up in jail because they fuck their customers so fucking badly that it's just insane. They have to be free, They have to be like, give me $5 for a coffee or whatever. They have to be free because their fucking spaghetti code is so goddamn bad. Like GitHub. GitHub is entirely full of spaghetti code. It's insane. Like, people that just really do have no clue how to design at all. Now, I know that I'm talking a lot of shit, but see, the problem is those piece of shit software developers, they don't have to deal with the problems like I do. They don't have to deal with the ravages of what that does to an industry. They're not the people that get harmed. They're not the victims here. They're the criminals. They're the reprobate criminals who hand in spaghetti code that you have to use 6 or 7 times before you finally get the same result. It's insane that you do every day. I have to restart, and sometimes on YouTube I'll have to re-upload a video 6, 7. Today it's like 12 times something. Some days I'll just re-upload to YouTube over and over and over and over and over and over. Today it's been 12 times, 13 times now. I've just re-uploaded. I had to call off 80% videos. That means that I uploaded 37 gigs to stupid ass fucking YouTube, and then I just had to erase those because YouTube is completely incompetent and full-blown should be prosecuted for the amount of theft that they actually commit on the industry and the people. Now you're gonna say they don't charge us any money, and I'm gonna be like, no, yes they do. They run ad revenue, and they force us to watch ads all the time. I won't watch their ads, but you watch their ads, and like, if you watch their ads, they make all this ad revenue, right? They take our money. They kind of do. They take our money and our interest, and then they just phone in the software code. They just phone it in, hoping it works or whatever, and that's kind of like an elevator. It's sort of like the same thing, sort of. If you don't believe me, consult Y2K. That's sort of like a military that doesn't know how to fire a weapon, or like a political party that doesn't know how to pass a law. Software developers who don't know how to get code correct, they're actually just as dangerous as, let's say, Boeing jet engineer technicians who ignore safety regulations. They're just as dangerous. They should be prosecuted. Fucking piece of shit-ass fucking software developers. Video games is an entirely different thing because all that does is harm kids. It's not that big of a deal. But other pieces of software like Microsoft Windows, we definitely need to prosecute those pieces of shit for stealing our money and destroying all the other software developers in the world and all this other stuff that they did. They're worse than Satan. They've caused more problems than Satan. They're worse than Satan. They're Satan's overlords. I'm dead serious. They're like worse than Satan. They're fucking worse than that. They have more money than Satan. It's kind of insane. They're like really bad. Really, really bad people, software developers. They hide under the most like soft image of the land. They've got their turtleneck fucking sweater and their glasses, and you know that they're reading something from Carl Sagan or something on their phone, you know. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how intelligent they are. Morally, they're worthlessly piece of shit criminal. You know, it doesn't matter how well intentioned they are, like Bill Gates or whatever. Like morally, they're worse than Hitler. I would say Elon, Bill Gates, Zuck, Bezos and stuff. Morally, they're getting worse than Satan now. They've got far too much money for their broken code, and they've taken that money and they've bought children and they've co-opted governments, and they're worse than Satan. They're Satan's overlords. Satan buys from them now. I'm dead serious too. Everything I say. Every time a software developer fucks me, I tell the world the truth. Sooner or later, they're going to have to stop fucking me on a consumer-based level. They're just going to have to stop doing it. Or I'm going to fucking scream about the IBM and the Holocaust and how bad Microsoft needs to be fucking sued by the American government. Stop fucking me then, Microsoft, and I won't yell to the high heavens on stream about how goddamn American government needs to prosecute you for fucking IBM and the Holocaust. And if not that, how about Afghanistan and Microsoft for military? Our fucking software developers need to be prosecuted. They've been committing crimes for far too long. I'm terribly sorry. They've been in the mafia for the last 30 years. They must be chased, just like in the 20s. And when we demanded that the FBI go after these software developers and shit, I'm sorry, go after these bank robbers and shit. I don't really see the difference, right? I demand that the FBI goes after these software developers. They've been stealing from children for far, far, far too long. I'm not being hyperbolic. It's the sad fucking truth. Shall we go Google? You know. Oh yeah, so Elon Musk has 13 kids and he's only paying for like 7 or something. Isn't that fun? Piece of shit software developer. Yep. So anyways, yeah. So, prosecute them before it's too late. That's all I have to say. I'm terribly sorry. You can see it. Consult how your game crashed how many times today. You can understand that the software developers have been stealing for a long time. How many times did you have to reopen the GPS program? How many times did you have to reopen the Twitter program? How many times did you have to restart your cell phone or your computer? How many times did you have to restart your car or whatever? It's fucking stupid. You can see the software developers have been stealing for a long time. They must be prosecuted. And every time they fuck me for no reason on Windows shutting down my USB or whatever, I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, I'm gonna call you a fucking piece of shit fascist and call for the death of your fucking industry. I will not stand by while you fuck me, piece of shit software developers. I will not do that. I'm that guy screaming for that lobby because you fucked up the world and you made it so my generation can't make any fucking money because we can't monetize ourselves off of sales of online currency. And you know that's the only thing my generation fucking values. You're so fucking stupid. You're so bad at what you fucking do. You get up on stage with Trump like you're smart. You're so fucking bad at what you do. Use the products and you would understand. How many times did Skyrim crash today? Is it 50 or is it 100? I don't know. How many times did Microsoft crash today? Is it 3 or is it 5? I don't know. How many times did OBS crash today? Is it 3 or 5? I don't know. How many times did I have to restart my cell phone or my computer today? I don't know. But the software developers, they've been stealing. They need to be prosecuted. They've been charging billions and billions and billions of dollars for something I wouldn't pay $100,000 for. Not GPS, not these fucking Windows fucking OSs, not this fucking Palantir Pegasus shit. None of it is worth even $100,000. You guys have been stealing so long. The shit that it does barely works. You've been stealing so fucking long. I'm done with you. Hey, when you were raping that child on the Lolita Express, Bill Gates, were you thinking about Microsoft for military? Oh, good. Premium service for rich people. Yay. I'm just going to turn off the music for a time. How about deepfakes? Thanks, software developers. How about bank predatorial fucking like Bitcoin fraud and all this shit stealing? Thanks, software developers. How about the death of the video game industry? Thanks, software developers. How about fucking Y2K? Thanks, software developers. How about Microsoft for military? Thanks, software developers. How about Microsoft for IBM and the Holocaust? Thanks, software developers. How many Jews did you murder in World War II with your fucking IBM machines, you worthless piece of shit traitors? Fuck you. I hope you die. I hope your family can't eat. And all this other shit, I can't stand you piece of shit software oligarchs. Can't stand you. Worthless pieces of shit. Fuck you.
Greetings, survivors and friends. Shadowfrax here with your latest mouthful of organic Rust content, where this week we have premium servers, workbench changes, anti-cheater efforts, and your meat on display.
Efforts.
See. But first, if you haven't watched my vid from last week, I'd recommend doing so, as I covered in as much detail as possible the Cooking 2.0 patch, which will be coming next week. And I hate having to repeat myself, but this week there's even more stuff to show and some important changes. So open wide. Here comes the arrow pie. Over.
Okay, I'm in on Rusty Spoon. Yep, I'm on a tower. I'm going up the tower to grow, to build the tower, to grow the tower. It's just throbbing and it's getting erect and it's getting larger and bigger and everything. My tower's so fucking big. I need to go get some metal to make it even more rigid and fucking hard.
And staging main now, B grenades, which stack to find.
Hey, Bill Gates, when you were on the Lolita Express, were you thinking about IBM and the Holocaust or Microsoft for military?
I have a new model, which leaves no doubt as to the contents, and the admire animation now gives it a little shake to make sure they're ready. There are new bee swarm visuals as well, which you can observe around both natural and crafted hives. And swarm behavior has now become more complex. Further to last week, bees will now die in smoke grenade smoke, making it an effective defense. And you can set them on fire with a flamethrower, etc., which will also do the job. In addition, rat water will now destroy the nucleus inside a beehive, and beehives can be heated with heaters. Please note, the temperature percentage inside a hive just seems to be a measure of how happy it is and not how cold or hot it is. Perhaps the team could add some kind of thermostat control item in the future. Just a suggestion. The price of honey at the Bandit Scrap Exchange will be 2 instead of 1 when it's at 100% price, and bee swarms can now attack sleeping players. A lot of visual and audio effects are being added to cooking. All meats have a model now, including horse meat, finally, which I enjoy feeding to my horses. Hey, if we can be cannibals, why can't they? That's it. Eat it all up. But now also meat will show up when cooking on all platforms, including campfires, hobo barrels, barbecues and fireplaces, even cauldrons, which looks absolutely delicious in a suspicious Mountain Dew curry kind of way. You'll also get cues on how cooking is progressing, with the meat slowly browning and an audible sizzling which stops when it's fully cooked. The new cooking bench will have its own effects too, including bread slowly rising and browning in the oven, and pies doing a similar thing, with a faint bell sound when ready. And incidentally, the calories in pies have been increased from 30 to 150. There's still a week to go though, so all the facts and figures are still subject to change.
Oops.
Until then, but things are starting to shape up nicely. Now, premium servers. In an effort to combat the tiny amount of cheaters that Rust seems to have, a new premium server tag experiment is coming in, and if you haven't heard about this yet, here's how it works. Servers with the premium tag will only allow players to join whose Rust Steam inventory comes to more than $15, not including Rust itself.
What?
Basically, that includes any Rust stuff in your inventory with a value such as skins, building skin packs, Hazzy sets, etc., etc. It doesn't currently include the DLC packs like instruments, sunburn, and voice props, but they are looking into this being included as well, and hopefully it will be in time for the patch. The reasoning behind this is that currently the vast majority of cheaters have Rust Steam inventories below $15, whereas the inverse is true of long-term regular players. And this isn't something that can be spoofed easily. So the idea is that this will be enough of a deterrent.
Okay, I do like it, yeah.
To keep most dodgy players out of those servers. That's the idea. I do wonder how
it's a really good idea. How do we get the cheaters to buy $15 worth of shit every time they try and cheat? Yeah, sure, do it. Yeah, I'd rather they pay Rust and continue to cheat than continue to cheat.
This will be,
Or not
and
Rust,
whether
but
the threshold will have to
I'd
be
rather that they paid Face Punch $15 for their right to cheat, you know? Each time that they cheated. Yeah, I think that's
after all, cheaters
smart.
are willing to pay to win rather than put any effort into actually being good.
Yeah.
You only have to look at how much people spend on their insecurities in real life to get the idea.
Yep.
But what do you think? I saw one comment suggesting just adding a cheater tag and applying it to any non-premium servers instead. One thing I will say is that I wouldn't be surprised to see a big increase in Rust-related scams once this comes in. So, you know, don't be stupid. The premium tag is open to all server owners, vanilla and modded, and can be enabled with the convar server.premium. I did check, and there are currently no plans to allow server owners to set their own inventory value threshold, and it will be stuck at $15 for the foreseeable. Chicken coops. There are some updated visuals for the chicken stats. Eggs now take 2 minutes each to hatch, and you can't pet chickens whilst they're asleep, because even chickens need to sleep sometimes. There was also this commit, which I laughed at but forgot to show last week. Hopefully this never happens in real life, as I'd start feeling bad about eating them. Now to workbenches, and currently on the Auxo 2 branch, the new tech trees are being finalised, and one thing that needs to be said is that all the workbenches will need to be unlocked soon via the tech tree. For instance, in a tier 1, you'll be able to unlock the engineering workbench, as well as the cooking workbench and mixing table, but you're now also going to have to unlock the tier 2 workbench here. And then in the tier 2, you're going to have to unlock the tier 3. However, just today, the scrap crafting cost is being removed from workbenches 2 and 3 with an increased high qual cost instead. Needless to say, there are mixed opinions about these changes, which I won't go into, but I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. And just so you know, I did check, and there are no plans to wipe BPs with this update, as I've seen a couple of people asking about that too. Oh, but you can get 2 small boxes under the engineering bench. What a time to be alive. Further to showing the new armor insert system last week, this is still yet to get another gameplay pass today, but you can no longer get armor slots on burlap shirts. It seems like it'll mostly just be actual items of upper body armor or full suits like the Hazzies and bone armor, but this and the final values for the inserts should all be sorted next week. In works in progress, there's more work on Jungle Ruins, the Boomerang, Blowpipe, Crocodile and Tiger, including this commit, which I'm hoping some of my Polish viewers can help me with. What exactly is Polish eating behaviour, please? And do we need to be worried? Also, tigers will be able to drag corpses if disturbed whilst having a snack. Nice. The last thing I wanted to mention, apart from asking you to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this vid, is some more efforts to thwart cheaters, which you may remember having been mentioned a while back. This is basically where a player's location isn't networked if they're hidden by terrain. Therefore, that info isn't readily available to cheaters. The feature's been in testing for a little while and is going well, it seems, and performance is still good. So, in the next phase, hopefully in time for the next patch or soon after, to quote Face Punch, rocks and cliffs will be included as part of the occlusion grid bake, which will improve the overall effectiveness of the system and help mitigate those cheaters getting that edge. There will be optimizations to the line algorithm that's used to calculate the visibility between 2 players, which should boast notable performance improvements, especially on servers with larger player counts. And for server owners, the occlusion grid generated on server startup will now be saved to a file. This results in faster subsequent startup, as loading the grid from a file takes a fraction of a second compared to the minutes it can take to generate the grid. Also, any server owner can enable this feature now with server occlusion in the startup. Could this really make an impact? Let me know if you see any improvements, won't you? Anyway, that's the bulk of the changes this week, and you are now up to date. I should have a full write-up of the final details for the patch next week, so stay tuned. Leave a like and a sub if you'd be so kind. Comment below, join me on all my socials, including my Steam group, and you can support me here via Super Thanks, Patreon, and YouTube memberships. I shall catch you all soon, but in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio.
Windmill. Now, I don't think
What exactly is Polish eating behaviour, please? And do we need to be worried?
Donald Trump pardoned Ross Ulbricht, the cause celeb of the Silk Road, known to many as the Walmart of illegal drugs. And it's no surprise that many are celebrating this as a victory for libertarianism. But that's strange because what ultimately brought Ulbricht to justice was trying to murder a bunch of people, which is generally frowned upon by libertarianism. And it's weird that Trump says he wants to increase penalties for drug dealers and in fact execute them.
They execute drug dealers. Every country that has the death penalty has no drug problem.
It's weird because he pardoned possibly the biggest drug dealer in American history. So pardoning the Silk Road kingpin solely because he paid lip service to your presidential run seems, I don't know, suboptimal. To break down this insane story, we turn to chaos lawyer Liz Dye.
Thanks, Devin. President Trump's pardon of the January 6 rioters on his first day in the White House was outrageous. But another pardon on his second day in office was only slightly less offensive. On January 21, the president announced that he had just called the mother of Ross William Ulbricht to let her know that in honor of her and the libertarian movement, which supported me so strongly, it was my pleasure to have just signed a full and unconditional pardon of her son, Ross. The scum that worked to convict him were some of the same lunatics that were involved in the modern-day weaponization of government against me. He was given 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Ridiculous! Leave aside that the president is conducting government business so as to drive traffic to his own social media platform, because that's a whole nother video. What you have here is an explicit admission that Trump is using the power of his office to pay back a political constituency by pardoning a drug dealer. And you may think that America's drug laws are totally ridiculous, which is fair. But I think we can all agree that allowing the president to waive those laws once in a while as a payoff to people who vote for him is a terrible way to run a country. But okay, let's start from the beginning. Who the heck is Ross Ulbricht? Well, today, Ross Ulbricht is a 40-year-old guy who just walked out of a high-security prison in Florence, Colorado after getting his life sentence wiped away. But in 2010, he was a broker living in Austin, Texas, whose used book business had just gone belly up. But Ulbricht, a staunch libertarian who thought that taxation was theft and drug laws were an unjust infringement on individual liberty, had a new plan. And that plan was to sell drugs.
Of course.
A lot of drugs.
I've been thinking about this. What if you could?
So, what are you saying?
Think about it. Amazon for drugs.
You despise Amazon.
But I love freedom.
In January of 2011, Ulbricht launched the Silk Road website named for the ancient trade route that connected East Asia and Western Europe during much of the Middle Ages. Users of the Tor browser could access the Silk Road website on the dark web and pay for illicit goods and services using Bitcoin. The site escrowed the payments until delivery was complete, usually via means of the good old US mail. Once the drugs or other contraband showed up, Silk Road released the money after taking an 8 to 15% cut. Buyers and sellers could leave feedback and ratings, just like on Amazon, attesting to the quality of the product and delivery.
Bitcoin plus Tor, untraceable.
Like every good criminal, Ulbricht documented his ambitions in his journal.
Untraceable.
In 2011, I am creating a year of prosperity and power beyond what I have ever experienced before. Silk Road is going to become a phenomenon, and at least one person will tell me about it, unknowing that I was its creator. And he kept that journal on his laptop alongside files with names like Law Enforcement Counter Intel. Foreshadowing. The first sales were generated by Ulbricht himself, who cultivated and then
sold 10 pounds of psilocybin fungi, aka magic mushrooms.
Other vendors soon followed, and sales ticked along until July, when the website Gawker published an expose on Silk Road by reporter Adrian Chen.
Making small talk with your pot dealer sucks. Buying cocaine can get you shot. What if you could buy drugs online like socks or light bulbs?
Now you can.
Yeah.
With an online website.
I mean, I agree, but yeah.
I ordered 10 hits of acid delivered to my doorstep by the U.S. Postal Service.
What did that feel like?
Well, to tell you the truth, Adrian, it kind of felt like the future.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Stop funding the state with your tax dollars and direct your productive energies towards the black markets.
The piece is kind of adorably dated at this point. It calls Bitcoins the online equivalent of a brown paper bag of cash. It also featured quotes from Ulbricht himself when he wasn't trying to pass himself off as a Silk Road customer named Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
He said, "Our community is amazing. They're generally bright, honest, and fair people, very understanding and willing to cooperate with each other." He also made it clear that he absolutely intended to violate the law and to encourage other people to do it too. He said, "The state is the primary source of violence, oppression, theft, and all forms of coercion. Stop funding the state with your tax dollars and direct your productive energies into the black market. If that was a ploy to gin up free publicity for the site, it worked. Silk Road's business exploded, but that had two knock-on effects that eventually led to Ulbricht's downfall. The first was that it put a target on his back with law enforcement and legislation. New York Senator Chuck Schumer called Silk Road a certifiable one-stop shop for illegal drugs that represents the most brazen attempt to peddle drugs online that we have ever seen, and said he'd bet his bottom dollar that the Drug Enforcement Administration was investigating, which they were. The second effect of the Gawker article was that Ulbricht got so busy that he had to hire staff to help him run the business, and those two things together were a recipe for trouble. Senator Schumer was right that law enforcement was after Ulbricht. In fact, there were teams at the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, the Postal Service, the IRS, the Secret Service, and of course the Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, trying to figure out who was behind the Silk Road. Everyone wanted to be the one to take it down. And inside one of those teams, operating out of Baltimore, was a DEA agent named Carl Force IV. At a regional meeting, he listened to a postal inspector describe the massive uptick in drugs being intercepted through the mail. He realized that that might be the big case that made his career. So after learning how to navigate the dark web, he created an avatar for himself on Silk Road and a whole backstory to go with it. Force played a Dominican drug kingpin named Eladio Guzman, who wore an eye patch and sold heroin and cocaine wholesale. The conservative Christian cop consulted the Bible and chose the name of Mom, a city of priests near Jerusalem, where King David received Goliath's sword, setting off a series of events that sparked one of the bloodiest massacres in the Old Testament. But Force wasn't the only one playing dress-up. Ulbricht went by Silk Road when he started the site, but then rechristened himself Dread Pirate Roberts, aka DPR, after the character from The Princess Bride movie.
You're the Dread Pirate Roberts, admit it.
With pride. What can I do for you?
The joke
Fucking
was that
nerd.
Dread Pirate Roberts is the mask and can pass the identity along to someone else. And in fact, Roberts told his friends who knew him when he started the site that he'd sold it to someone else and wasn't running it anymore. That was a lie.
Contribute to the community by reviewing your sellers, buyers, and products.
Ulbricht loved running the site, not just for the money, of which there was a lot, but because it gave him a platform to preach his libertarian anti-government philosophy, in which acting as a middleman for illegal narcotic sales was somehow noble and good. Remember how Trump pardoned this guy to honor the libertarians? That's why. Using the knob persona, Force approached DPR, Dread Pirate Ulbricht, with an offer to buy the Silk Road. DPR said it would take $1 billion, which wasn't actually crazy, considering the site did $1.2 billion in sales during the 2 years in which it was operational. The two struck up a friendship and were soon messaging regularly, with the supposedly hardened drug cartel schooling the young tech nerd in the ways of the underworld.
God.
Side note, Ulbricht wasn't actually a tech nerd. He had a master's degree in engineering. He learned to code to build the Silk Road, but his code was kind of amateur. Actual coders were constantly messaging him to say that his site had leaks and bugs, and as Wired reports, by 2013 he was paying $50,000 a week in blackmail to fend off denial of service attacks. In the end, it was his own carelessness that brought him down.
Sorry to interrupt, but obviously if you're going to try to become a drug kingpin, you're going to want a good lawyer. But if you want a great lawyer, my law firm, the Eagle Team, can help. If you've gotten in a car crash, suffered a data breach, especially if you got one of those data breach letters saying your information might have been leaked, or are dealing with a workers' comp or social security issue, we can represent you or help find you the right attorney. Because it's so important to talk to a lawyer right away so you can maximize your recovery. And by the way, we don't get paid unless you do, so there's nothing up front. Just click on the link in the description or call the phone number on screen for a free consultation with my team. Because you don't just need a legal team, you need the Eagle Team.
Back in 2011, when Ulbricht started the Silk Road site, he tried to drum up business in other drug forums using the handle Altoid, like the Mint. An archived post associated with the handle linked to the email address rossulbricht@gmail.com. Then in 2013, Ulbricht used his real picture to order 9 fake IDs from his own website so that he could rent more server space without revealing his identity. That package was intercepted by the Department of Homeland Security at the Canadian border. And when the agents knocked on the door of his apartment in San Francisco, Ulbricht said that he hadn't ordered the fake IDs, but hypothetically, anyone could have ordered them off the Silk Road website using the Tor browser.
It's such a fine line between stupid and clever. Yeah, it's just that word turnabout.
Later that year, when the FBI team working the case discovered that first piece of data about his email, they put it together with the second piece about the IDs, and it led them to Ulbricht. But by then, things had gone totally off the rails with Knob, aka Agent Carl Force. Agent Force, as Knob, had been chatting up Dread Pirate Ulbricht about establishing a sort of wholesale version of Silk Road, distinct from the retail side, where the big guys could trade separately from individual users buying a few hits of ecstasy or an ounce of weed. At the same time, Ulbricht had hired a guy named Curtis Green to handle customer service issues. Green was a Mormon grandfather in Spanish Fork, Utah, who went by the handle Chronic Pain. He agreed to take delivery of a kilogram of cocaine, acting as the middleman between Knob and another drug dealer. When the drug showed up at his door, so did the DEA, including Agent Force. But when Green stopped answering messages for a couple of days, Ulbricht figured out that Green had been arrested, and he was worried that his guy would flip, which was a pretty safe bet since Green sang like a bird the second the feds kicked down his door. At the same time, someone used Green's Chronic Pain admin account to siphon off $350,000 worth of Bitcoin, and that someone was not Green. In fact, it was a Secret Service special agent named Sean Bridges who started helping himself once the feds took Green's computer and got control of the account. But Ulbricht thought that Green was stealing from him, and he vowed to take revenge. First, Ulbricht consulted another deputy who went by the name Inigo. Get it?
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father.
God.
Prepare to die.
He said, if this was the Wild West, and it kind of is,
Inigo.
he'd get hung just for stealing a horse. Inigo agreed, I don't condone murder, but that's almost worthy of assassinating him over LOL. And so, Ulbricht reached out to his friendly neighborhood drug cartel Knob to get the job done. He said, I'd like him beat up, then forced to send the bitcoins he stole back. Later, he thought again and messaged, can you change the order to execute rather than torture? He was on the inside for a while, and now that he's been arrested, I'm afraid he'll give up info. And Knob agreed, which led to this.
What's that for?
Huh? This is lunch. Open up, dude. Open up. There we go. You got it. You got it. Keep it in. Keep it in.
Oh, I love that dribbling out. It's nice.
Ulbricht paid a government agent $80,000 to murder his own employee to keep him from testifying. And then things got really weird. Force continued his chats with Ulbricht as Knob, but he also created a bunch of other personas, including one where he called himself French Maid and purported to sell him information about the government's investigation, and some of that info was actually true, meaning that Force sold out his fellow cops. Force also took money from that scheme and parked it at a Japanese crypto exchange called Mt. Gox. At the same time, he got himself hired as a security officer for Mt. Gox and used his position to seize hundreds of thousands of dollars from another user. And that money did not end up in the FBI's bank account either. Meanwhile, Ulbricht got over his squeamishness about killing people and what he thought was an assassin from the Hells Angels motorcycle gang
Fucking moron.
to murder another former employee and 4 of his housemates.
Fucking moron.
The online hitman appears to have been a scammer, not another federal agent, although you never know, do ya? He didn't kill anybody, so that's good. Eventually, FBI Special Agent Chris Tarbell and a team out of New York tracked Ulbricht to a public library in San Francisco where he was using, I kid you not, public Wi-Fi. The agents managed to distract Ulbricht long enough to snatch his open laptop before he could slam it shut and brick it. Ulbricht was arrested and charged with narcotics trafficking, distribution of narcotics over the internet, money laundering, trafficking of IDs, and continuing criminal enterprise. Note that Ulbricht was not charged with the murders for hire, or at least not in New York. He was charged with 1 murder for hire in Maryland, but that case was
murder for
dropped when the
hire.
New York conviction came down, and
What?
that was likely thanks to Agents Force and Bridges,
Fucking poser.
both of whom were indicted in California in 2015. Force would have been useless as a witness since he had no credibility, and with multiple federal agents screwing around on the back end of the Silk Road site, Ulbricht's lawyers could have undermined the whole case. And so, much to the annoyance of Ulbricht's attorney Joshua Draytell, the jury never heard a word about Force and Bridges, which is not to say that the state's evidence was weak. Draytell mounted what could only be described as the Dread Pirate Roberts defense. He put Ulbricht's friend on the witness stand to testify that Ulbricht said he'd sold the site in 2011. But Tarbell's team had cloned the Silk Road server and followed Ulbricht around, matching his activity time and location to the DPR's presence on the website. So in the end, the jury didn't believe Ulbricht's story that he had handed the pirate mask off to somebody else. And on February 5th, 2015, they convicted him on all counts in just 4 hours. Now, again, you may think that our nation's drug laws are pretty screwed up, but the fact is that the penalty for drug trafficking in this country is high. And since Ulbricht denied that he'd committed the crime, he didn't get any credit for accepting responsibility or showing remorse. So he got 1 life sentence for selling drugs over the internet and 1 for continuing criminal enterprise, plus another 20 years for the rest of his charges. So even though he wasn't charged with the attempted contract killings, Judge Catherine Forrest took those into account as relevant conduct, which is, roughly speaking, bad and or illegal stuff the defendant did in preparation for the offense, during the offense, and following the offense to avoid detection. And while a criminal conviction has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, relevant conduct only has to be established by a preponderance of the evidence. So Judge Forrest took those attempted contract killings into account when she sentenced Ulbricht. She said, the court finds that the evidence is clear and unambiguous, and it far exceeds the necessary preponderance findings that Ulbricht believed he was paying for murders of those he wanted eliminated, and that he believed they had in fact been murdered. He was told his first victim had a wife and several children. The consequences flowing from the murder of a man with his family is never, so far as the court can tell from the record, considered. When he commissioned the hit on the other of what he thought was one person, he learned that the person was apparently someplace with 3 other individuals. Ulbricht then agreed and paid for a hit on all 4 of them. There is no evidence in the record that he knew them, these other 3 folks, that he ever dealt with any of these 3 folks, or had any beef with them at all. He commissioned the hit without regard to who they were, to the fact that they had a right to life. And don't forget, Ulbricht paid the money. He got the pictures of the crime scenes, and he wired the cash, and he believed that he had killed 6 people. So yeah, the trial judge gave him what's called a 2-level sentencing enhancement for the use of violence. And Ulbricht appealed the
I fought that archer the entire time my people
Judge
killed him.
Forrest to consider the attempted murders or the evidence of people who'd overdosed and died from drugs they bought on his website, including a 16-year-old kid who took a synthetic hallucinogen purchased from the Silk Road on prom night and jumped to his death from a balcony because he believed he could fly. And the appeals court upheld the conviction, after which Ulbricht's supporters paid Canon Shanmugam, considered widely to be the best Supreme Court advocate in the country, to file an appeal to the Supreme Court. And SCOTUS didn't take his case either, which is a long way of saying that Ross Ulbricht got a lot more due process than 99% of the criminal defendants in this country.
Yep.
But the United States loves an outlaw, and the crypto bros loved Ulbricht. They thought he was a visionary who could see the potential of decentralized currency, which was true, but that potential was crime on a massive scale.
Yep.
And the libertarians loved Ulbricht for similar reasons. He didn't believe in central government or taxation. He thought regulation was bad. He liked to deliver long, pointless lectures on the economic philosopher Ludwig von Mises. And so,
I love Liz Dye. She just slaughters him.
Never went away. He claimed that he was not condemned to die in
Piece
prison
of
for actually
shit.
selling drugs,
Fucking
hacking
piece of
software,
shit
and fake
software
IDs, or for
developer.
laundering money himself. Rather, he was held responsible for what Silk Road
Fucking
users
hack.
listed on the platform,
Fucking mope.
despite established laws
Fucking
protecting
moke.
providers from liability for their users' content. Under
Burns
Section
my
230 of
ass.
the Communications Decency Act, Facebook and Instagram are not responsible for your nasty posts, but a guy who sets up a digital drug market and takes a cut of every transaction does not get to claim Section 230 immunity for what happens
No.
there. I mean, come on. Ulbricht supporters claim that the Silk Road mostly sold small amounts of marijuana and nothing involuntary that could harm a third party, which is slicing that salami pretty thin. The Silk Road sold malware and hacked account information, and the Silk Road's sister site, The Armory, sold guns, but Ulbricht shut it down in 2013 because even with his 10% cut, it wasn't profitable the way drugs were. But in December of 2023, Ulbricht got a lucky break because the head of the Libertarian Party, Angela McArdle, went to Mar-a-Lago, the co-skep to the future president, and when he asked her what he could do to win the Libertarian vote, she said, "Free Ross Ulbricht." Now, President Trump has consistently demanded the death penalty for drug dealers after Philippine leader Rodrigo Duterte engaged in a terror campaign, slaughtering more than 6,000 drug dealers and users without trial or conviction. Trump congratulated him for the unbelievable job on the drug problem. And on his first day in office, Trump designated Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations and threatened to bomb them. But when the libertarians said they wanted a drug dealer pardoned as the price for their vote, he said, "I love freeing people." And that's exactly what he did. Within 24 hours of being sworn in, he paid back a political constituency by pardoning a drug dealer in honor of his mother and the libertarian movement.
This was near and dear to me
so strongly. The libertarians rejoiced, calling the pardon a rupture in the suffocating...
This guy valued money the way I value gaming currency. This guy would steal for it. I would steal for it too. This guy would sell people over and kill people. I would not do that. That's the difference. He believes that Bitcoin is the real world online currency and he wanted to control it. I don't really agree with that. I don't think it's something that you can control. And I'm sort of against his weird right-wing... I'm sorry, when I hear libertarian, I hear right-wing. I know you guys don't like that, but I do. I think, like, libertarian's the scary right-wing. It's the scary right-wing. If that guy, he was claiming libertarian, that's scary because it's a right-winger who's willing to thumb his nose at the law and steal and be like, oh, I don't want government telling me what to do or government telling me I can't do drugs and all that. I agree. I'm that leftist liberal on the Green Party side who agrees with you. I don't want the government fucking telling me what to do. But you still thumbed your nose at your fellow American fucking subordinates or whatever you want to call them, your peers. Like, you thumbed your nose at your fucking peers. That's what I would say in court, too. That's not how America works. Everybody must be subject to the law, which is why I'm so angry about Trump fucking walking on 35 felonies. When they got those convictions, that man should have been in jail. I faced jail for far less, and that savage hypocrisy will cause me to want to destroy this government. And so all the time, I think how I don't want to do those things. That's some piece of shit right-winger like a libertarian or somebody like that steering me down the wrong fucking path.
Wall of state oppression and praising Ulbricht as a pioneer, a dreamer, a man who dared to create a marketplace unbound by the suffocating grip of centralized control, which is a funny thing to say about a dude whose entire defense was, hey, you got the wrong guy, it wasn't me. And in jail, Ulbricht seems to have had a change of heart. In a letter to President Biden in 2022, he renounced his entire project. He said, I thought at the time that I was promoting my ideals, but I have since learned what a terrible mistake I made. It was supposed to be a place where anyone could buy or sell whatever they chose so long as they weren't hurting someone else. But it turned out to be a very destructive idea because it was mostly used for selling illegal drugs. And he said that, having been in prison with people whose lives were ruined by drugs, he understood now that selling drugs was not a victimless crime. I guess we'll find out if he means it, because there are rumors that Ulbricht has some $43 million in Bitcoin sitting in several digital wallets, and that crypto exchanges are already sniffing around trying to get his business. There's also been some suggestion that the pardon will allow him to get back the Bitcoin he forfeited to the government as part of his punishment, which is now worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And okay, there's room for nuance here. We could have a national conversation about over-sentencing and the abject failure of the drug war. But
we don't.
About over-sentencing. This was an abuse of power by the president as a political payoff. It's not a question what happened here. Trump tweeted out that he was doing it as a payback for votes. And because of the immunity ruling in Trump v. US, where the Supreme Court said the president can do more or less anything in his official capacity, there's not a darn thing anyone can do about it. Thanks again, Chief Justice Roberts.
Thanks, Liz. So, in the end, the thing that brought Russ Ulbricht to justice was having too much information online. He really could have benefited from today's sponsor, Incogni. Because Incogni removes your personal data from online data brokers by reaching out directly and forcing them to take your personal info down. If these data brokers fight back, Incogni will take care of that too, because Incogni fights back. These data brokers are the reason why in the US you can search your name and find a bunch of websites that will give basically anyone your home address, phone number, and extensive history. It's shocking just how easy it is to find all this information. It also might be why you're getting so many spam calls lately, or even how someone might steal your identity. But Incogni is a great way to fight back, increase your online privacy, and cut down on those annoying scam calls and emails that used to flood my voicemail inbox. I've been using Incogni for years now. In that time, you can see I've been on hundreds of lists. some of which had a high sensitivity score, meaning the broker had tons of data on you. Luckily, Incogni has completed hundreds of takedowns for me over the years and is in the process of dozens of others. If I were to try this myself, it would take hundreds of hours. So thank you, Incogni, for saving me hundreds of hours and adding me to over 40 suppression threats. And Incogni will continue to conduct ongoing removals because even if the broker removes your data once, they can collect it again. Incogni makes sure that your information stays off the market for good. So if online privacy is important to you, give Incogni a try. If you click on the link that's on screen right now or down below, you can try Incogni risk-free for 30 days and get a full refund if you're not into it. But if you are, you can use the code LegalEagle for an exclusive 60% off discount. So get a 60% off discount by just clicking on the link that's on screen right now or down in the description and use the code LegalEagle. After that, click on this link over here for more Legal Eagle, or I'll see you in court. Holy cow, the Alec Baldwin case was slated to be the next trial of the century. But
I can't believe he was freed on prosecutorial misconduct. That's insane.
By Squarespace. Welcome to the alt-left pipeline. You didn't escape the alt-right, you simply got sucked into the lies of the left. When are you dropping How I Escaped the Alt-Left Pipeline? Woke crap. Since I made that video, Escaping the Alt-Right Pipeline, there has been a claim that's kicking around that I have jumped out of the alt-right pipeline and landed slap bang in the far left alt-left pipeline. In this video, I want to talk about that. I want to talk as well about what the direction of this channel is, how you guys can help. Yes, that means I'm setting up a Patreon and I'm going to ask you for money. But not just that, right? We're going to talk about the culture wars, the evolution of wokeism, and most importantly, am I now woke?
Yes, my favorite small YouTuber who only posts obscure content finally uploaded again. Is this submarine sort of woke now? Don't tell me that isn't a woke-shaped submarine. Trying new stuff, I guess. Sorry, I didn't know the Walt Disney Company is making submarines that looks less people.
I figured I'd start this video out with me doing my political compass. I did it on stream, and when the results came in, shit. God, I'm a fucking lefty. That's mental. That's insane.
You're not a lefty, though.
Yeah, I guess I am pretty left-wing now. Look, I'm going to make my excuses.
You're
the problem
centrist.
I find with these tests when you do them is that it sort of doesn't account for nuance, because me, as an individual, I can be very critical of unregulated capitalism. However, I really like capitalism. I really like businesses. I like it in many industries. I like when people come up with innovative businesses and they create cool shit. I think without checks and balances, capitalism has some nasty tendencies. Competition in capitalism can drive innovation, but I believe in order to actually have real competition, you have to have things built in to stop the 1% of wealthiest people hoarding all of the wealth. I believe a state should control its utilities, like private billionaires maybe shouldn't own our water supply, our rail, our electricity, etc. But you see, these political compass tests, they don't let you type out your answer. It's basically,
look, my house got bigger.
Yes or no. So you just have to take my word for it.
Look, my house got bigger. It's beautiful. Like, it's a nice house. Hey, it's 5 bees and a honeycomb. That seems good. Yeah. And here's a tanning rack. And a smelter. And an anvil. What else can we do? Going back to the drawing board. Oops. Okay. Three locks, 3 iron fittings. No, wait, no, I want to use the smelter, I'm sorry. I am getting smithing for this, which is cool. Now I have a storage room. Let's go inside and see the building itself. Look, there's 2 entrances now. Lakeview Manor up top. I'm gonna get some light going. It's kind of late. I wonder if there's a bed in here already or what. Let's see. I've not gone inside yet. I just built a whole bunch of it before I went in. Oh, look, there's an empty chest right there that I can just dump everything. Awesome. There's a carpenter's workbench, so I can do this out. I can like do the construction inside if I want. There's a manor cellar. There's a door leading to some back room that's just empty with another carpenter's workbench. There's I've never seen this content before. This is Hearthfire's DLC for Skyrim. I stopped Skyrim because I was playing WoW. And I never did get to see all this stuff. I would have bought it all and done it, but I was like this crazy WoW raider all the way up until 2015 or something like that. Way past when this game came out. Yeah, when's Skyrim? It's going to be like 2009, something like that. Or 2008. And for another 7 years, I sat and played WoW instead of seeing this content. Which is frankly sad. Let's see if the music's different in here. No, it's the same old... No, it's Morrowind music. It's Morrowind music. Listen to it. My house has Morrowind music. That's what they did as a... You know, as like a fucking, like a... To juice up the deal. Awesome. Listen, it's the Morrowind track. I have a cellar for some reason. I don't know what you would do with all of this, but I mean, like, yeah, you have tons of stuff. I mean, I don't know, like, I guess you could put, like, storage containers in here. There is a lot of room. Here's another whole room. This is pretty expensive to make, too. You can, like, dump furnishing in here, but I don't know why you would, really. You can't decorate this place, and it's starting to sort of, like, irk me. The only thing that's really good about this place is the amenities. And so I will memorize where the tables are. So now what? Now they want more stuff, and that's cool, and it like gives you a reason to play. 21 minutes before restart. So I wired the power. It looks better in here. The workbench is paid. Everything's good. Could use some metal, so I'll go out with a jackhammer and I'll hit some nodes around my base. Fucking crossbow on this server? Good luck. 7? Thought it was 8 before. Ooh, is there a recycler here? Oh, it would be so cool if there was. This server's laggy, even with lossless. 3 iron fittings and 3 lock. So this server's restarting. I'm going to get off it for like an hour. Go play some 76. It's the first warm day of the year. It's so nice. It's not freezing in here. Real Fallout player. I respect it, but I also just don't. I also don't see doing this much. I mean, it's not that complicated. It's not that hard to make this. It looks hard when you go through it, because it's got a sense of design, but it's not that hard to make something like this. Some of this I hadn't seen before. $30. It's really foggy. But when I go to his base, it's like raining and it's red or whatever. Because he's got a weather generator. I've got a weather generator, but you have to be outside. And for some reason, he's allowed to do weather effects here, but I'm not. I wasn't allowed to do a snow generator here. Because they don't want snow generators at the train yard or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just, like, it's weird. Like, sometimes Bethesda's choices are so weird. Hello. I mean, yeah, it's all free money. I'm just gonna take it. I mean, it's only 60 caps, but that's 60 caps I didn't have. I don't care. Now, apparently it is most wanted right now, so I will join an event circle. Or, well, I'll make one. This one's a good one. It's short and it's only combat. My main's broken, and so is my other weapon. No, well, this gun's good. Look, I got like a 90-second turnaround on this. Fucking sweet. And a Gunther's Big Iron, which will probably sell, frankly. Wait, that gun... Yeah, well, it's always got the same stats on it, huh? I do like this gun. Like, I do like this gun, and I do rock 45. I think I'll replace Gunther's Shadowgrounds, oops, Elder's Mark, Red Terror, Ultra Sight, Boomstick, Fat Man, Daisy Cutter, Psycho Buff, Lunchbox, Executioner Grognek's Axe. Am I carrying it? I shouldn't be. Should be Med-X. Psychonauts, Lunchbox, Med-X. Yep. Psycho Buff, Med-X, Lunchbox. Yep, keep them separated. Gotta keep them separated. Hey, don't pay no mind. Gunther's Big Iron. This thing is kind of a weak left arm. I have enough for 2 weapons at the thing. Look, V-syncing is better. I think 120 is a little bit more solid. But I don't know. I think I kind of liked it like uncapped in X4 scale. Right. Now run. Yep, and it looks weird. But it, like, the frame rate's good. I don't know. This seems better, like it's better for my card, and yeah, all I really want is a solid 120, that's all, with all these clients open. Did you, yeah, you did, you crashed, huh? Okay. Well. Yeah, you crashed, let's go, close. I'm gonna make sure I'm not missing Foschnacht. Nope. I've got 2 levels. Just gonna try and get max rank of all the cards, I guess. Nice. No, I think I do want it on X4, but I just want it like V-synced. Yeah, it seems better. Or I don't know, like maybe I don't want higher. I want the V-sync on, yeah. There, and then unscale. I want you to show me again. That's a little bit abnormal. Two-shot Gatling gun. Which would be better if it had speed, and two-shot. I don't like Gatling guns. Not in this game, anyways. Worthless. Look how much better that is with frames, though, I gotta say. The E-Sync is better. It, like, definitely does, like, run it better. Couldn't get in? Okay. Here's Fashnacht. Easing makes it much better. Oops. My caps just reset. I should have sold faster. I didn't have anything to sell. I mean, I do, but not really. Man, it takes a long time to level, and some of these people have like 13,000 levels, which I don't really understand. It's like they wanted to prove that levels meant something, but all I see is somebody who is just controlled by that meta. Controlled by it completely. $120 is much better. Look, it makes the game look a lot better. I didn't realize how important VSync was to lossless scaling. Maybe I should learn more about lossless scaling, but let's go back to my base, I guess. Yeah, let's go watch a video about understanding lossless scaling settings. Make sure I don't miss anything.
Alright, so last week I uploaded this video where I tested lossless scaling to see how much frames per second.
Wait, what game is that? It's Ratchet and Clank.
Actually get, and we ended at around 800 frames per second on Ratchet and Clank, right? But a lot of people in the comments were actually pretty mad. They said that I'm using it incorrectly, whatever. But that was not the point of the video. The point of the video was to see how far we can actually push it, and as I said, we got to around 800 frames per second. But then the dev also reached out to me and gave me some pointers to see what I could improve, right? So today's video is going to be about how to use lossless scaling correctly. Alright, so currently we're back in Ratchet and Clank, and the reason for that is because it was also one of the games I used in my previous video. So I'm going to try and go through this very quickly at just a few pointers or points that I need to talk about. So lossless scaling actually caps your base frame rate to your monitor's refresh rate. That's why in the previous video I used the 60 as a capture card, and the base frame rate was locked to 60 frames per second. It couldn't go any higher, even though G-Sync or V-Sync were disabled, right? So second thing I want to talk about is frame generation does not decrease your input latency, it actually increases your input latency. So for that reason, there's no real benefit to going above your monitor's refresh rate.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. That's what I wanted to hear.
It's fine to see what kind of frame rates you can actually push.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did in my previous video. It wasn't supposed to be a very technically correct video. It was just me playing around to see how much I could actually get out of it. And then also, so the point is to try and get basically your monitor's refresh rate as the final output, right? So currently we are running at 1440p on the very high preset with DLSS set to quality on an RTX 4090 and a 7800 X3D. The 4090 is currently the only GPU that I do have in possession. I'm waiting for new GPUs. Anyway, that's beside the point. Lossless scaling works on pretty much any GPU and pretty much any game, right? It might depend on support on the DXGI capture API, but it'll work in most games, right? And then the last point that I want to just talk about here is that currently I do have 165 volts connected. Sorry, I'm just running around, but I want to talk about what I want to talk about here, just to explain a few things. I've got 165 volts panel, and when I use frame generation, I do use VSync and G-Sync and Reflex, and VSync caps the frame rate to 165 frames per second due to the monitor's refresh rate, but then if you enable reflex, it actually caps it a little bit lower. It caps it to 158 frames per second. So that's exactly what we are going to be trying to do here. We are going to try and cap to 156 frames per second final output. The reason for that is 156 frames per second can be divided by 2 or by 3, and that way we'll get the same final output, but testing X2 and X3 will get us the same final frame rate. All right, I think that basically said it all. One other thing, latency overlay meters actually don't work with this with lossless scaling at all. I tried Present1, I tried
mine does.
NVIDIA overlay, I tried
mine's doing it well.
What's it called, LFM or something, LMF, can't exactly remember the name, but none of that actually gives us accurate results. So the only way you can test input latency using lossless scaling is with a physical click to photon type of device. All right, if I'm wrong, correct me, but I couldn't get any of the overlays to work. All right, so that out of the way, let's start with the lossless scaling tests. All right, so here's my lossless scaling settings. This is just the scaling type. This is an upscaler. I leave it disabled. You can enable any of these if you do or want upscaling if a game does not support it, but we'll just use the LSS in this case. Right, and then LSFG 3.0 is the latest version. This is the one we'll be using. It is the best one of them. Then we do have modes 2x, 3x, 4x custom. I've already tested 4x and 20x, etc. So we'll only be testing 2x and 3x in this video. Resolution scale is just the resolution scale of the generated frames. If you find you are struggling to get to your base frame rate or your target base frame rate, you can reduce this. And then also these are just basically the same settings I used in the previous video. And then the capture API, DXGI works for me for most games. If a game does not work, you can just try and change the capture API here. Then I only have one GPU enabled, and that's the RTX 4090. I do have 2 displays enabled, but I do have multi-display mode enabled here as well. And as I said, the monitor's refresh rate currently is 150.
Oh, look, there's better latency. He was right. X4 definitely. Oh. Look, the frames are so good when you lock them. Few seconds.
Or 165 hertz. And I'm aiming for 156, right? So that means we would need to cap our frame rate. And for that, we're going to be using RT. XPSS. So basically 78 frames per second base frame rate cap here would translate to 156 frames per second because we times it by 2 with the frame generation, right? So if we go back to our game, you can see in the top left-hand corner, we've got a base frame rate of 78 and a final output of 156. Now, I've got MSI Afterburner open here.
Oh, look, that's much, much better. Fix some settings there. Oh, no, I came to cook. Gotta go pee. I'll be right back. Okay, server should be reset now. I'm going to go back on Rust.
I don't think that the metrics displayed in overlays are always correct because sometimes it'll show that the game is stuttering when there's no stutter or no perceivable stutter anyway. And think that the frame rate also sometimes does not reflect correctly. But I've just got it open there in the top right-hand corner just to give you an idea what the frame times are looking like, although it is perceived a little bit better. All right, so X2 getting us 156 frames per second here, which is basically the same as what I would get with VSync and Reflex enabled, and this is actually a pretty good experience. It's very, very smooth. Motion fluidity is pretty good. Input latency is not bad. And if we have a look at the trees here again, the same as in the previous video, you'll notice that the artifacting is a lot less than on 10x or 20x, even a 4x, right? It is extremely decent. This is very, very good. I actually don't see any issue using this. Now, where would you use it? Like if a game does have DLSS and DLSS frame generation or FSR frame generation, I'd probably advise you to use the built-in frame gen tech. I'm just using this game as an example. We'll get to a real-life example soon, but I think it does a very, very good job here, right? We basically reduced our GPU power usage because obviously we are now rendering only 78 real frames per second, so our GPU is doing a lot less work, and that way you can get a little bit more of an efficient system with the same perceived motion fluidity, right? Sure, there are some little artifacting here and there, but the X2 mode is actually pretty good. Now, I just need to say that what I see on my 165 hertz panel is different to what you'll see on the 60 frames per second YouTube recording, because the frame rate or the screen refreshes so quickly that the artifacts are really not noticeable. But on a 60 hertz display, because I can see that I can actually monitor my recording on the right hand side monitor here, and there you can actually see that the crosshair does disappear from time to time. So what you'll see in the YouTube video is not entirely what you will see when playing the game itself on a high refresh rate panel. All right, so that's X2. Let's try X3. All right, so now for X3, that's what I was talking about earlier. To get to 156 frames per second, we can take a base frame rate of 52. Now, personally, I would not really recommend 52 frames per second for frame generation because of the additional input latency that you'll notice. Times 52 frames per second is a little bit lower than I'd recommend. I'd recommend 60 frames per second, right? All right, so basically now we got a base frame rate of 52 frames per second and a final frame rate of 156 frames per second. Input latency is slightly higher. As I said, I can't measure it, unfortunately. There is a little bit more artifacting, especially in the foliage, but not nearly as bad as in my previous video, because remember the previous video we were trying to see how far we could actually push the frame rate, not to see whether it's actually usable or not, and it was just a fun video for me. So in the foliage here, you can see that it does disappear a little bit. Once again, in the 60 frames per second recording on the right hand monitor here, it does look worse than on the high refresh rate panel here, but we can see that we are able to maintain our 52 frames per second target, and it then basically generates or times it by 3, so it generates 2 additional frames for each real frame, and that makes it 156 frames per second. Definitely usable. I'm not going to mind playing like this at all. Input latency is slightly higher than previously, but as I said, it'll affect different people differently. I'm fine with this kind of input latency. Other people will hate it and will not play like this at all. Others it might bother slightly, but personally, this is actually not horrible. I'd be able to play like this. And remember, we do have reflex enabled in this setting, so it does reduce input latency. And why can't I even hear a box? All right, so that's going to be it for Ratchet and Clank. I just wanted to show you the perceived visual quality. Well, talk about the perceived visual quality because it's slightly better than the YouTube video will show you. It's actually very, very good. I do like it. All right, so I'm going to show you Dragon's Dogma 2 next, just to show you a real world example. All right, so here we are in Dragon's Dogma 2, and the reason why I want to show this video or this game is because it lacks CPU optimization. It is actually pretty bad when it comes to CPU optimization. We are running a 7800X3D, and at times it drops into the low 60s, right, when it comes to the frame rate. So currently I do have LSFG enabled as well. I mean, it's just the way the recording is set up, right? I need to capture when I record, I need to record a specific window, otherwise LSFG does not work, and it's just because of the way the way it works differently, and that's also why overlays don't really work with it. All right, so not really concerned about the frame rate here. We'll talk about the frame rate now, but the reason why I say this is a good video or a good game is this game's DLSS really looks terrible. It looks very, very bad when you enable it. Even on quality mode at 4K, it just does not look on point. So what I do in this game is I set the rendering mode.
I've never seen Dragon's Dogma 2.
So
I'm so glad I didn't have to deal with this at launch. I'm like, oh man, you know why I still have my hair? It's because I dodge all the stupid shit that all the other nerds do. You want to know how I still have my hair and I don't have a bald spot? It's because I just don't do stuff like Dragon's Dogma 2. I just straight up don't. I'm like, no, I can see a headache and I'm not doing it. Are you muted or what? Yeah, you're muted.
That's 50%, give or take. And it does impact the performance, but it does give you much, much better visuals, right? So just progressive and image quality set to above normal, okay? And then if we go back into our game here, let's just save the changes, not that we made any. Game looks plenty good. It runs okay-ish, but it's a far cry from my 165 Hz panel, right? So enter lossless scaling. So we're going to be doing the exact same thing as previously. I'm going to lock it to 78 frames per second. I hope we can maintain 78 frames per second, and then we're going to use the X2 mode, right? So just scale, just unscale and scale again. All right, so here we are. We're not really going to maintain 78 frames per second. You can see it drops to 74 in the top left-hand corner. And that's because the game is CPU bound. This is not the GPU that's lacking. So even reducing the render resolution in LSFG is not going to make a difference. And the stuttering is also because of the game, right? But you can see here we're definitely getting a much better motion fluidity, a much better visual experience here. And input latency is perfectly fine for a game like this. And artifacting, I don't think you'll notice a lot of artifacting either. All right, so we're not able to maintain 78 frames per second here. Let's just sheet it there. So what I'm going to be doing is just adjust this to 60 frames per second. So our final frame rate output becomes 120 frames per second, right? So once again, we'll just have to, oh no, there it goes, it actually updated. So 60 frames per second becoming 120 frames per second. Input latency slightly higher, but visual quality, visual fidelity is pretty good, because we do have games set to render internally at a higher resolution. The same can be done with DLSS, with DLDSR, sorry, but the game gives you that option, so we might as well just use that. And then if we run outside here, as I said, we're not always able to maintain a full 60 frames per second, but it gets close enough to maintain, or to get close to maintaining 120 frames per second. All right, so then if we then want to do a X3 scaling, which I think is maybe better in this game, because some PCs will definitely struggle to maintain 60 frames per second, but 50 frames per second might be better for them, right? So if we change the scaling to ×3 here, and we lock the frame rate to 52, so this would mean 156 frames per second output mode. And let me just unscale and scale. And 52 frames per second, I think, is definitely more manageable, more.
There it is.
For quite a few
There's the
seconds,
settings.
And then ×3 to get 150 plus frames per second. Motion fluidity is very smooth. Artifacting is still quite minimal.
Yeah.
You'll start to notice it when you start pixel peeping, but personally, it doesn't bother me that much.
No,
the game
I'm
is
okay with it.
looking much cleaner than it does with DLSS frame generation, because what I didn't show you, sorry, is that for DLSS frame generation to work in this game, you have to enable DLSS, and DLSS really looks terrible in this game. I'm not even exaggerating. It looks pretty bad. So you can't use DLSS frame generation in this game. So that's why I think this game is a perfect candidate for tech like this. All right, I just wanted to clear the air here, just do a proper video to show you how to actually use it, seeing that people got really mad at me just playing around. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The dev was very nice about it, just gave me some pointers, didn't think that I was doing something wrong. It's just maybe just give a little bit more people a little bit more info regarding this. And I do think it is definitely serviceable. And if you don't mind slight artifacting here and there and slight input latency, just give it a shot. It is on Steam. I think it's about $5 to $7. It's definitely a pretty decent piece of software to maybe extend the life of your current GPU. All right, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and as always, we hope to see you in the next one.
Also want to bring in the Democratic senator from Arizona, Mark Kelly, who met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky just this morning. Senator, first of all, let me get your reaction to what you saw in the Oval Office, and did you have any inkling at all that, based on your conversation with President Zelensky, this could turn quite so contentious?
I did, not from our meeting this morning, but
At least he doesn't look like a suit dummy.
So things are getting pretty f***ed up in America right now, and a lot of people are genuinely frightened about it. We have an unelected billionaire burning down the government like it's a Cybertruck that caught fire after hitting a pothole. Our new Secretary of Health and Human Services is Beelzebub, the Demon Lord of Pestilence. Excuse me, I mean it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Demon Lord of Pestilence. And then, of course, there's the ramping up of violent treatment of refugees
the Demon Lord of
Pestilence. And
Pestilence.
the coordinated effort to remove trans people and people of color, or even the discussion of them, from public life. And the Democrats are like, what do? Do we record a podcast about it? Do we send another fundraising text? Let's be really clear about what we're facing right now. Our government has been taken over by an anti-science, anti-democratic, overtly racist, authoritarian movement led by the richest and most powerful people in the world. And no one is doing shit about it. I mean, how does that make you feel? It makes me feel hopeless. Like, I should tune out. Stop reading the news and...
No, it makes me feel like I'll fight them on a battlefield in my mind, but when it comes to the battlefield in the real world, there'll just be a shithole. Did I say it right? I feel like I'm fighting them in a battlefield in my mind, but if it ever comes to a battlefield in the real world, it's like a shithole. And so, like, I'd rather fight them in my mind than fight them in the shithole.
Entirely and go back to watching White Lotus. Hey, at least on that show, the racist rich people are fictional. You know, I'm supposed to be the bright side, positive takeaway guy, and it's hard to find one here because it's true. Nobody is coming to save us. The brutal truth is we are going to have to save ourselves, as depressing a prospect as that is. And, you know, it may sound impossible, but I promise you that it is not. There are concrete ways that you can fight back, and none of them involve sending $5 to a spineless Dem or posting to your Instagram story or burying your head in the sand and protecting yourself by turtling up, as tempting as that may seem to be. There are things that you can do, and you know what? People are already out there doing them, and they are starting to stem the tide a little bit in ways that you can be a part of. And on this episode, I'm going to tell you what they are and how you can join them. But first, real quick, I want to remind you that I'm on tour right now. If you want to come see me do stand-up comedy in person, be around people, that might feel nice at a time like this. Well, I'm going to be in London on the 22nd, Amsterdam on the 26th. I'm looking forward to being out of the U.S. for a little bit. Then I'm headed back to the States to go to Providence, Rhode Island, Vancouver, and Eugene, Oregon. Later in the year, I'm even going to Tulsa and Oklahoma City. Head to adamconover.net for tickets and tour dates. And if you would like to support this channel directly and all the videos we bring you week in, week out about all these important topics and what you can do about them, head to patreon.com/AdamConover. So let's recap just a tiny teaspoon of the app.
Hello? Hey there, I have a question for you. Yes. Can you talk? I can.
A long time ago, and I mean I haven't done this for probably 8 years or longer, there was a service where you could get artistic services done. You put it out for bid and you could get stuff done cheap anywhere in the world.
Fiverr?
What's it called again?
Fiverr?
Yes. Is it still around?
Yeah, Fiverr is very successful and big and is still current. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Fiverr. I can't find what I need in Bellingham.
Yeah, and you're supposed to be able to pay $5 for pretty much any short-term service.
Great stuff from them. Okay, and for $5 if it's not good, who cares? All right, thank you. I'll let you go.
No problem. Glad to help. Bye-bye. Good. That sucked. I shut my locker. No, I shut a locker. Yeah. Well. Some of the latency isn't so good, as you can see. Ugh, no, like... There, see... Wait, oh, because I was teleporting? Yeah, I was teleporting, that's why. It was like turbo loading some new scene. No wonder. Wait, stop. Ah. Yeah, a lot of ingots to sell, damn it. I hope the price hasn't gone down, because then I have to reprice everything again, which is so annoying. Ooh, HV bullets.
Avalanche of bullshit we're facing. After taking office, Trump gave the keys to the federal government to the world's richest man and his band of horribly nicknamed teen hackers. I mean, there are just too many things to make fun of about this kid. Sweatshorts and a blazer. His nickname is Big Balls, and his grandpa apparently loved beer. I can't even write jokes about him. It's lib comedy hack. Send her to the Daily Show. They'll make quick work of him there. So Big Balls has your social security number, and his babysitter, Little Balls Elon, is busy gutting the exact agencies
Little Balls
that were
Elon.
investigating his many potential crimes, such as the Department of Labor, which was investigating Musk's companies for racial and sexual harassment and retaliatory firings and even workplace electrocution, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which was getting ready to regulate X's mobile payment service, the EPA, which is investigating supposedly environmentally friendly Tesla for violating the Clean Air Act, and even the USDA, which was investigating Elon's company Neuralink for animal abuse. You know, personally, I can't think of anything more evil than destroying the federal government just so you can keep torturing
2X.
animals, but I feel like Elon can top that by next Tuesday.
So I learned that 2x is best, no scaling, resolution down to 90, the VSync and the max frame latency at 1. I'm coming out with settings that I think are good for fucking lossless scaling. Go back to it now. So here's without. You can see, like, you know, GeForce Now is doing pretty well because it's got its own lossless scaling. Another thing that I'm worried about here is like, yeah, it's trying to get 60 frames per second on this crappy server. And I think it's doing its own form of upscaling, and I want to go check that now. And it sucks to do this, but I'm going to. I'm going to go check this now. Yep, I want to leave. Yep, go. You're so annoying. You don't let me out when I want you to. You just hang. You're so annoying. So, I want you to show me my settings for what you're doing, which is competitive or custom. The max bitrate should be 75. Frame rate should be 120. Max bitrate should be 75, but the frame rate should be 120. VSync should be off. Set VSync to adaptive. Reflex is on. HDR10. Color precision. And L4S. And what is L4S? Low latency, low loss, and scalable throughput. And each person not going to be able to help the numbers and minimize packet while streaming. It's going to have each person not customer when I adjust. Oh, okay. So L4S, I don't have it. So okay, that's good to know. Set VSync to VRR display. VSync is off. Yeah, 120 FPS, 19 by 1080, 75. And I think that's better settings. So I'm just trying to get like the best tools for lossless scaling. Games, we're going back to Rust, and I don't know why Rust like does this. It's so annoying. Rust does this. I can't reach it. It's so annoying. There. Okay, so give me lossless on this game. Yeah, that's better. That's just better. Because the games it's at 50, like whatever game I'm playing, I just use my lossless filter, and then I don't have any lossless. I don't have any loss. I don't have any loss of frames at all. I wish this tech had been created like 15 years ago, but they wouldn't have known how to do it. It's fucking annoying. But it is like the most powerful program I've ever witnessed in my life. Hands down. It outdoes Pegasus. Pegasus can crack your cell phone. This will turn a fucking burrito in, or whatever, a potato into a fucking rocket ship. And I swear to God, that's like throughput wise, that's stronger. See, I knew it. I knew the prices went down. The prices went down, and I've got to reprice all of this crap. It's so annoying. I want to make sales, and I want to make a lot of them, but you keep fucking me on the price. God damn it. You fucked me on the price, and I did not make sales when I really should have. And it's fucking annoying. It's like your pricing is pissing me off. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to make my fucking sales now. I'm like full. I'm fucking full. Which is so stupid. You're so stupid. You fucking idiots. You're so bad at pricing. I don't know. Try 35. No. It'll go so quick. Yeah, they want me to lower the price. I didn't make this price. I'm going to lower this price. I'm going to lower this price. I did not set it to 4K. Somebody else did that. I've been trying to make sales for so long. Watch the catalyst destroy the market. I don't care. I didn't raise these prices this high. That's some other shithead. Asians would never do this. A white person fucking fucked with this fucking auction house, I swear to God. They would just never raise the price that high, because then nobody makes any sales. Like me. I'm here like knocking this guy down like a good quarter or something of what he did in a single few button presses or whatever. I'm going to knock down a quarter of what he made. But I don't care, motherfucker. You keep raising the price like it's like coming from nowhere. This money is hard to get. You're fucking stupid. You guys are so greedy and shitty This money is so hard to get. And y'all are fucking raising the price all the motherfucking time. You're so fucking bad at what you do. From the software development to the fucking prices to the stock market, all of it. You're fucking bad at what you do. It's because you can't see the greater good. You don't know what the greater good is. Last 3 generations or something, they can't see what the greater good is. I've found out the hard way. The greater good is everybody eats. If you don't think that's a reality, then you don't know what being a human is. Being human is everybody eats. Everybody eats, you know. But we have abject squalor and fucked up shit is because some greedy person got involved. I've failed. God damn it. Pull off, because these ones for 3701, they won't sell. God damn it, you're so annoying. Your fucking pricing is so goddamn dumb. I want them to surge, buy me out. But they fuck the prices so fucking badly. Yeah, they fucked the prices so fucking badly. There it was. I need to get back to that page, because I've got more. Yeah, they fucked these prices so badly, like everything else that they do. Oh, God. Get out. Get out of that market. Get out of it. We are slinging copper. You understand? Yeah, and I just sold 3, too. I sold 3. And they're like, wait, this is, like, selling. Yeah, it's selling, motherfucker. It's selling. They're like, wait, the market loosened up? Yeah, the market loosened up, motherfucker, right now to this moment. Some shithead, some conservative piece of shit was trying to rob you. I'm terribly sorry. Here's me liberally, like, laying this shit on the market for you to fucking buy. Here you go. It's so stupid. You see the struggle wherever you go. Some tyrant who wants to lord it over everybody else, raise the price of copper to fucking $4 grand or whatever. Fucking so annoying. Greed. It's greed. Look at my fucking fingers dance as I post, goddamn, like post and unpost like fucking 85 items or whatever in the 2004 era. You see me do it like a cashier. This game will teach you to be a cashier. Look how fast I can do this shit. You see it? You see it? Because I used to be a cashier and shit. I used to like oh that's $4.99. Ding. You know? Yep. And like now that skill is translated to Final Fantasy 11. So now I still have like fucking 6 ingots or something, and that's fine. I'll lower the price back down to fucking 3K or whatever. I don't care. I just want them to buy. You guys choked up the fucking market with your greed, and in my experience, that's just never that good.
The entire Trump administration seems intent on destroying only the good things that the government does while supersizing all of the bullshit. Just in the past 2 weeks, the Trump administration has fired thousands of nonpartisan civil servants who are in charge of things like life-saving research on cancer and heart disease, making schools safer.
Oh, that'll make America better because we're all sick and full of cancer.
Preventing bird flu, you know, in order...
Oh, yeah.
To keep the price of those precious eggs low, and even guarding the fucking nukes. And yeah, they're now scrambling to get some of those people back, but they can't find them because Elon deleted their fucking emails. You know, I thought we all wanted to live in a country where cancer wasn't a death sentence, eggs aren't $10 a dozen, and nukes aren't regularly stolen by bandits. But I guess
Thank God I'm not addicted to eggs. I don't eat eggs almost ever.
I was wrong, that's gonna happen now. And Elon isn't the only failed son lackey f***ing America up right now. RFK Jr. is already ordering the CDC to stop promoting life-saving vaccines. And, you know, there can be a lot of misinformation around vaccines. So you know what I did? I used our sponsor, Ground News, to find this source. I was able to search the topic, RFK Jr., and scroll through a bunch of links to articles about him. Ground News even gives each publisher ratings for factuality and political bias, so I could find a headline that was rated as center and high factuality. And I was also able to scroll down and find similar articles from other sources. Using Ground News really helps us research these videos because it's easy to find a lot of different perspectives on big, complicated stories. And you can use Ground News too. My viewers can get 40% off this amazing user-funded service if you use my special code. Just go to groundnews.com/factually. And you know, having a way to sift through the news really helps because it just keeps getting f***ing worse. Especially for trans
Oh, look,
and
that's
queer
better.
Americans
It
who
is
have
better.
every reason to be really frightened right now because they are being persecuted by their own federal government. Trans Americans have already reported having their gender markers being forcibly changed on federal documents like passports, which could prevent them from traveling or lead to harassment from officials. And schools are being investigated by Trump's Department of Education for the sin of having an all-gender restroom. Did you let a non-binary kid pee? You're going to jail in Trump's America. And Trump doesn't just hate pronouns. He's banning the whole damn dictionary. Researchers at the National Science Foundation have been told by their government that they could lose funding and their jobs if they use words like black, equality, historically, political, and even women. Which is surprising because it's clear that none of these guys have studied any women lately. I mean, okay, that's an easy joke, but I don't really know what else to do but laugh at a time like this. The Trump administration is literally spending their time stripping scientific data and entire government websites off the internet because they have the word gender in them. The Park Service site for the Stonewall National Monument was literally forced to remove the T from the acronym LGBT. First of all, who the hell ever heard of an LGB flag? And second, don't they realize that by reducing the T, they actually made the page trans? That's gender-affirming code. And yes, I did ask my trans friend Sandy if that joke made sense, and they said, sort of. So the Trump administration is banning words and trying to erase people who they don't like from existence. That's not just fascist.
That's Republicans.
It's Orwellian in the purest sense. So who is coming to save us from this new dystopia? Well,
nobody.
Definitely not the Democrats. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries made that very clear.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what leverage we actually have. What leverage do we have?
None.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Zero.
Maybe trying isn't good enough when that's your entire fucking job.
Unless you prosecute, it's
Trump
zero.
Would be president for months.
You did
He
prosecute.
even gave
You didn't hold up the charge. Welcome to fascism.
Open book test. How about the new chair of the DNC, Ken Martin? When confronted with the overwhelming evidence of the destructive power of billionaires over our democracy, does he pledge to fight back against them? Oh, no. He's too busy writing fanfic about the good billionaires.
There are a lot of good billionaires out there that have been with Democrats.
No.
Share our values, and we will take them.
No, they don't.
Consider it for Ken to use a sign language interpreter.
They just give you a lot of money, you piece of shit.
In 2 languages.
They have a lot of that. It doesn't mean anything to them.
There is no such thing as a good billionaire. You cannot amass $1 billion by being a little sweetie pie.
No.
I mean, just 4 years ago, we were patting Bezos on the back for talking shit about Trump. But now that it's politically expedient, he's palling it up at Mar-a-Lago. At this point, I'm just waiting for George Soros to put on a MAGA hat and show up at a Ted Nugent concert. You know, the Democrats' main strategy seems to be to point out over and over again that what Trump is doing is unconstitutional. But hey, newsflash goes, that doesn't matter if nobody is enforcing the Constitution. The Constitution is not a set of magical laws that automatically bind our actions. It's just a goddamn piece of paper written by a bunch of dead dudes in wigs who naively thought that Congress would stop an out-of-control president to protect their own power. But you know what? They didn't anticipate that Congress would be so excited to be cucked.
I've been asked so many times, aren't you uncomfortable with this? No, I'm not.
Let me translate. That's Republican speak for, yes, Daddy, please f me harder. And that leaves, of course, our last resort, the courts. But I wouldn't count on them saving us either, because even if the right-wing justices Trump jammed through somehow grow a spine and stand up for the Constitution, they have no way to enforce their rulings, because the law enforcement officers are, guess what, controlled by Trump. That means that Trump could simply ignore the court rulings, as Vance has already
Which
hinted
they
he
already
will,
did.
which means
Yeah.
that the courts are incentivized not to rule against Trump at all, because if they do, and then he ignores them, it makes them look weak. Far better to keep pretending to be strong and do jack shit. Oh, look at you big strong boy. Very important in your serious robes. So there is no other branch of government, no jacked billionaire zaddy, no political strongman coming to save us. We are going to have to save ourselves. And I know that
I've
sucks
already
to hear,
done it.
because you got other shit to do.
I've already done it. You want to know how I've done it? You want to know how I saved myself? I learned how to live on the streets with absolutely nothing for 7 fucking years. You understand? I don't fear the death camps. I don't fear the Trump. I don't fear the piece of shit Republican traitor kill us all party. I don't fear the Nazis or the rapists or all the things that's going to happen to this country or whatever. I don't fear them. I've seen the ravages of the street. I've gone to nothing and back again. And I've been there and I'm back again. And I understand what it is. I know what deprivation is and what these rich people want. I've known it for a long time. And so I don't know really, I don't know what they can threaten me with. They can't torture me in my own mind. And after that, what can they do to me? Poverty? Welcome to the lower class. I've been the lower class for a long time, 30 years. It's been 30 years since I've had $2 to rub together. I'm dead serious. 30 years I've been in the lower class, so I don't give a flying fuck what you fucking threaten me with. Prison? Welcome to America. Been in prison almost in and out all of my life. Welcome to America. That America is a prison. Death? Yeah, sure, okay. I've got no friends. My family's now about 90. I've got nothing. Go ahead and kill me. Poverty? Oh yeah, you straddled me with that 30 years ago. You can't take love from me without killing my brain. So love lives in my head and you can't stop that. And so yeah, and I'll bring the flower power revolution if anybody ever asks. But I don't think anybody cares. I think they all want a Terminator 2 reality. I think they live a Terminator 2 reality. Like, I really do. I think they do. And it's kind of crazy. I just don't relate. And I don't really, care. And I don't really love them. But I love what they represent, which is a bunch of idiots that might fix it. That might fix all these problems. What's the likelihood? I can't... I'm not Jesus Christ. I don't want to go crusading. I'm 40 some odd years old. What the fuck can I do? What can I do to change this without getting shot with a high power rifle from across the street? It's a theme that's come up a lot of times on my stream before. What can I do to stop the Republican Party without getting shot with a high power rifle from across the street? What can I do to stop the CIA without getting shot with a high-power rifle from across the street? What can I do to stop the tech brawligarchs, as they shit all over us? I can't do anything. They'll shoot me with a high-power rifle from across the street. They'll hire their own fucking firms to do it. They'll hire Blackwater to do it. There's nothing that I can do to stop the evil men. When he talks about leverage, yeah, leverage would have been convictions. The left has no leverage. What the fuck are you talking about? You can be the left and kill people like Hitler, but you don't have any leverage as the left. I would say the vision of the left is to educate the rest of the world about decency. That's it. Your neighbor, the people that you have to live with, you don't pay them less. You don't treat them like slaves. You don't shoot them or get in blood fights with them or Christian versus the rest of the world fights with them or any of this other stuff. And so now, what can I do? What can I personally do to stop the flow of war? I don't know what else to call it. War? What can I do to stop war? Me, myself? Nothing. I can talk about it. You ever been in a riot? Or, a fist fight or like a gunfight, of which I've been in all three. You ever been in a fist fight, a gunfight, a riot, or a police pullover with guns out? Or any of that stuff? When the shit comes down to the line, it's about how well you act as a human being in the fucking moment. It doesn't matter what the cop represents. It doesn't matter what you represent. When it comes down to the heat of the moment or whatever, you handle yourself inexorably, and you don't fucking kowtow to anything. And if you can't find ground, then you didn't find ground. But, you know, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you'll get what you need. So you always must try. And trying means doing whatever you're good at.
You have rent to pay and kids to raise and a Kendrick Drake feud that's way more fun to...
I don't have those things. I wouldn't have signed up for these things in this society. I don't know if I want those things anymore. All the time I think about how the world that they're creating, you need to be able to move fast. And you need to be able to stay focused and do fucking 5, 10 fucking things at once. And move fast and just keep moving. Do you stand here and argue with the other fucking person about whether or not you should conserve money? Or do you just keep moving and surviving? And I don't know, but I think it's moving and surviving. I think it's surviving and moving forward. And so all the time I'm like, oh, the Republicans and the Democrats want us to stop and fight each other. No, I won't. No, I won't. You're fucking stupid, both of you. You're fucking stupid. Both of you are a waste of goddamn time. I have no other way to say it. I come at it with the vitriol of a Walter Matthau pissed at Jack Lemmon in JFK about talking about the Cubans and all this. Like, I come at it like, nah, you're just the fucking enemy. Nah, both of you guys, the Republicans and Democrats, you're the fucking enemy. You're the enemy to me, and I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to be your enemy. I don't want to treat you like an enemy. I want to treat you like a fellow American and love you. But I don't. I don't. I won't pretend that I do. I don't really love you. Not the Republicans and Democrats, no. Will they save us? No. No. They caused this.
To read about than this shit. And, because honestly, it seems overwhelming, doesn't it? I mean, the government is so fucking big. They're persecuting their enemies, and they could squash you like a bug if they wanted, couldn't they? It's easy to let yourself get small when facing a threat like that, especially a threat that so many of your fellow citizens loudly and angrily support. But I want to speak directly to that feeling. If you are feeling small and sad and dejected, like America is over and all you can do is huddle up and keep safe, I'm here to tell you, buck the fuck up. Average people have been getting squashed by bullies like Trump and Musk
for 200 years, since the dawn of this country.
The only way we ever stopped them was by kicking their asses. But we didn't do that by keeping small and staying safe and playing Stardew Valley while we waited for our next chance to vote in 4 years. We did it by fucking shit up. You know, for far too long in America, we've believed the lie that the only way you can affect
Like
change in this
what?
country
We
is
can't
to
do
vote for the
shit.
politicians
No, we can't do shit without sparking a fucking... Nah, we can't do shit. Not a single iota of shit without sparking a world war. Please do sit there and play Stardew Valley. And trust the process in 4 years.
donate to their campaigns, and post on one of the billionaires' dumbass websites. But they came up with that lie to distract us from the fact that we, the people, are political actors just like they are, and that we have power. And that power lies in refusing to be quiet and instead being unignorably fucking loud.
No, the public doesn't have AKs and guns and tanks and military and bullshit and fucking riot pigs and bullshit ass fascism and people like Hitler who don't value life or anything like that. No, the public is powerless against fascism. That's the problem. That's why we hate it so much. Piece of shit pig dog fuckers like Hitler and Trump. Traitors. To their own party, to their own country. Vilified. Die in a bunker, piece of shit fascist. Die in a bunker. You know what I'm saying? Die in a bunker, bitch. Diab. Die in a bunker, bitch. It's D-I-A-B. It's a diab. Die in a bunker, bitch. Die in a bunker like Hitler, bitch. That's what I assume the Trump situation will be, you know? It sucks, but I mean, that's like my full-blown assumption. That's what I think it's gonna be. I really do. And like, trust me, it's just, you know, when you start trying to rule with a fist and you try to squeeze your fucking, you know, I'll hit you with the Star Wars. You try to squeeze your fingers. The more systems slide through your grip. What can we do without fighting them? We can't do anything. We've got to let them have their way until they realize that the world can't be a prison. That's like what's got to happen with these piece of shit right-wing cocksucking morons. I'm dead serious. They've got to come to it on their own. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him fucking drink, right? You know why we say that terrible cliche? Because they've got to learn the hard lesson that you can't turn the world into a fucking... You can't turn the world into a toilet. You can't do that. Like you're not permitted to do that. You cannot turn a world into a fucking toilet without living in it, you piece of shit. You're the piece of shit in the toilet, Trump. And you're gonna live in a fucking toilet the worse you try to fucking fascist up the place. That's like actually the truth. Like, you know, there's nothing that we can do as the liberal left. What are we gonna do? Shoot you? No, we don't believe in that. We're not you. You're the one who likes war. You're the one who wants military budgets all the fucking time. We don't give a flying fuck about that. We're not gonna fight you on some battlefield or whatever. We'll fight you over something like slavery, but we won't fight you over some civil war. No. We'll fight you over something like slavery, but we will not do it over, like, left versus right. No. We'll just be like, nah, you can live with your worthless piece of shit prison planet for a while until you understand and your own kids tell you that you're worthless piece of shit fascists that believe the world should be a prison, and that prison is the answer to everything, and that conserving money while people starve on the streets is the answer to everything. You're the average piece of shit fiscal conservative who believes the world should be a prison and that there should be no money left that you don't control like Elon. And it's just disgusting. Fuck you. What can I do? I can't stop that. You're on a mission to destroy yourself, so we just let you do it. We just let you do it. What do? We're not going to shoot you. We're liberals. You think, oh, yeah, I think you thought this was going to be a civil war or some kind of fight. This isn't going to be a fucking fight. We're going to stand there and watch you destroy our country, and then nobody will have faith in you ever again, and boom, death of the Republican Party. The death of the Republican Party. I begin to see the Democrat strategy now, which is no, we don't shoot people or fight you. If it's civil wars, we'll fight that over slavery, but we won't fight it over political identity. No, we won't do that. We won't shoot other Americans over political identity. We won't do that. We'll do it for slavery, and we'll do it for, like, like shit like slavery, but we will not do that for political identity. We will not fight you physically for that. No, we won't. We'll just let you shit up the world, turn it into a prison, till all the world's a gulag, and they all hate you, and then you have your weird, terrible war, and then there's like 50,000 people left, like Battlestar Galactica. That's what happens when the right wing wins. Like, I'm dead serious. Battlestar Galactica. 47,000 people left after 7 billion perish in some kind of right-wing jack-off fantasy of nuclear war. And then I'm the only one who will speak plainly on the left. Do I fight you about this? Absolutely the fuck not. You've got blood in your fucking eyes. Just run me over. What the point would that be? What point would that be? That would give you what you want. The death of everybody while we fight you at war. I'm not gonna do that. I'll strike me down and I'll become like Qui-Gon Jinn or whatever. Or I'm sorry, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, strike me down and I will become stronger than anything that you've ever been in your whole fucking piece of shit fascist lives. You know what I'm saying? And this stuff matters. Like, fuck you. You can turn the world. You can destroy all the Jedi. And you can lie. And you can make lies the truth. And you can call yourself truth.org, but we all know that it's lies.org. And you can just kill your world with your fucking fascism all you want, piece of shit Hitler fascist. But it doesn't matter. We're not going to shoot you. No. We're not like you. Consult Gandhi and Mother Teresa if you think I'm wrong. Or Beatles. Beatles is a good example. War is over if you want it, right? I don't want some fight against American fascists. I don't want some fight. I don't want to shoot some American fascists. No. Let some other fucking person do that. I'm just going to let you stand by and turn the world into a fucking gulag toilet like Trump is already doing. And you'll eventually come to your senses, you piece of shit, traitor, cocksucker, backstabbing, piece of shit, cocksucker, right-wing Republican fucking idiots. And no, I don't respect you. No, I never respected you. Not since I was a child, before I even knew what the governmental policies were or anything like that. No, I don't respect you. I think death is your business. I think you're here to do Satan's willing. And then, either Satan's, they say, I'm going to quote Elliott Smith at you, they say God makes problems to see what you can stand before you do as the devil pleases and give up the things that you love, right? And we actually love diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those are the fucking founding fathers' morals. If you don't believe me, consult the founding fathers. They believed in diversity, equity, and inclusion. They really did. You know what I'm saying? Diversity, to me, means no King of England telling you what to do, like Trump. You pieces of shit want to bow down to the boot heel. You suck dick. You're not Americans. You're fucking traitors. Your party killed this country. You're fucking worthless piece of shit traitors. I don't hold back. I call you exactly what the fuck you are. Like, I'm not going to hold back like the rest of the world. I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you can call it one thing or pretend it's something else, but I mean, that's what you are. You're a piece of shit. American fucking traitors trying to push Trump like he's Hitler. It's fucking insane. And you expect to fight me on some civil war? I expect you'll put me in prison. I expect you to put me in prison. That's in line with Republicans, yeah. Prison is in line with Republicans. That's the one thing I can expect from you pieces of shit. Expect it very well, you know what I'm saying? Expect it to come, you know what I'm saying? Like it has all my life. Nothing's new about that. For what? Doing drugs? Or speaking my mind? Yeah, no, you can go fuck yourself, worthless piece of shit fascist. You can go fuck yourself. There's no solution here after you. There's no civil war here. You have to come to the trough willingly. It's called being civil. You're not civil. You're Elon Musk and Trump. You're not civil. You're worthless pieces of shit. You've destroyed our country.
Oh, look. Queer and trans people are facing threats to their safety. Yes.
Yeah, black people are facing... Anybody who isn't rich and white are facing fucking threats to their safety.
But not for the
Even me, I'm not rich and white. I'm only white.
Don't
Don't call me white. Don't call me white. Okay, here we go, guys. It's 4:30 in the afternoon. I don't really like YouTube when it tells me what to do, just like Trump and Hitler and piece of shit fascist fucking Putin and all this shit. I really don't like how YouTube tells me what to do, so I'm just not going to do it anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm full blown not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do it. I'm still going to do it right now, but not today. I'm not going to do it anymore today. So you've been watching Skycat Live. I've been recording a 3-hour video that should have been 9 hours long, but the piece of shit software oligarchs control every piece of shit software, and they publish their fucking incompetence into the software code itself. And so I can't trust OBS to record a 9-hour session. I only got 3. Which is annoying, but hey, we got 3 hours, guys. It's good. I'm going to Twitch only. I'm switching to punk rock music for the rest of the evening, probably. Fuck the system. Fuck the fucking censorship that rules everything that we do. Fuck the right-wing party and suck a dick, you right-wing cocksuckers. Go suck Trump's dick, because he's the only person that you like, and you're the only people that... He's the only person that likes you. and you guys can go suck a dick and stop destroying my country. I'm dead serious. Fuck you, piece of shit traitors. And so on that note, we kill the YouTube on that wonderfully positive note. We say, Skycat Live, full-time variety gamer. If you're Republican, go suck a dick and stay the fuck out of my channel. All day, every day. Put me on in the background. Click on the cat space to donate. Come to the Twitch or the YouTube. I love you. Fuck your fascism and your fucking censorship, where I have to get off YouTube right now because I can't listen to no effects. You can suck a dick with your piece of shit fascism that affects every single aspect of our lives. You can go on and support a Trump all you want if you want to suck on a rich man's dick, you senator's son cocksucker. But I don't give a flying fuck what your piece of shit fucking idiot ass is on about. Fuck your censorship. Fuck Trump. Fuck the Republican Party. Fuck the fascism. Fuck all of you. Peace.